Hi. In today's whiteboarding session, we're going to be talking about the CloudHub deployment model. So in this case, this is going to be our fully hosted in the cloud model. Also, you'll often hear this referred to as just simply CloudHub. That is MuleSoft's cloud offering. As we mentioned before, essentially what we're going to be talking about is the management plane and the runtime plane. So in this case, we're going to have our management plane is going to be fully hosted by Mule, and our runtime plane is also going to be hosted by Mule. So, in order to best understand how these are going to work, I want to first talk about a little bit of our underlying architecture. So, to begin with, MuleSoft actually hosts all of its cloud services on Amazon's AWS. Inside AWS is where MuleSoft actually has CloudHub. So as I mentioned before, this is MuleSoft's Cloud iPaaS service. And as we mentioned before, we have a runtime management plane and a runtime plane. So if we think about it here, we've got our management plane. Then we also have our runtime plane. So now, when we deploy to our applications in CloudHub, essentially every time you're going to deploy an application, you're going to be spinning up a new EC2 instance. So that's Amazon's Elastic Cloud Services. So essentially what you're doing is you're just spinning up a new server every time you're deploying an application. But as a customer, you don't really have to worry about that because MuleSoft's going to take care of all that for you. So if I spin up an application, I'm going to build a new EC2 instance, and each one of those is going to have both your application and the runtime on them. So we call each one of these a worker. So when you'll sometimes hear the term worker, that's what we're referring to as an actual EC2 instance with the application and runtime on there. Now, as I'm sure you know, you can deploy multiple different applications. So the next time we deploy an application, we're going to have a new EC2 instance. So it's going to be completely separate from the other one, and deploy that application on there and the runtime. Similarly, we can deploy as many applications as we want. So each one of these is going to be the same idea, where we're going to have the application and the runtime all on there. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's well and good, but sometimes you need to go and actually connect up to other data sources. So maybe that data source is in AWS. So maybe you have your own customer VPC. So you might have data sources in here. If you wanted to, you could actually connect up your runtime plane with the customer VPC via VPC peering. Also, you might have other data sources out in the cloud. So maybe you have something hosted in Azure, or maybe you just have you're connecting up to Workday or some other type of system. In this case, we're going to have cloud data sources which you can go either connect directly via an HTTP listener, or you can go and connect up with a VPN tunnel. In the same rights, you might have data sources that are in the customer's data center. So these are customer hosted data sources. Again, if you have those where you can actually connect up to those via HTTP or some other means, you can do that. Or if you want something a little bit more secure and you want to be able to build a tunnel, you can also build that tunnel here. So you can build your VPN here. Now, again, this is going to be our fully cloud-hosted or CloudHub solution for our deployment model. In future videos, we're going to go and talk about some of the other ways, like if you're fully customer-hosted or if you want to have a hybrid type approach. But for now, this is our CloudHub solution, which is fully managed by MuleSoft. And thank you and have a great day.